March 2025, Eclipse Season. Written, directed, and produced by Reverend Dr. Dickie Joe Mullen. These are unusual times in the world, and major events which promise to have long-range impacts are unfolding. Eclipses occur either in new or full moons, and Dr. Mullen will talk about the implications of this eclipse season and overview briefly each of the zodiac signs and the implications of the season on our lives. Now we will listen to Dr. Mullen's lecture.
Hello, I'm astrologer Dickie Joe Mullen, coming to you from downtown Orlando, Florida, with a special program about March of 2025. March looks as if it will be a month of destiny in the heavens. These are unusual times in our world anyway, politically, ecologically, and scientifically. Major events which promise to have long-range impacts are unfolding daily. This has all been in prophecy with Nostradamus and other prophets, even the book of Revelations, for hundreds of years. The celestial picture above us illustrates the drama, and several major planets changing signs between now and 2027 are starting a series of major events that are marking a whole new cycle for the human experience here on Earth. Pluto in Aquarius right now, Neptune about to enter Aries, Uranus nearing the cusp of Gemini and leaving Taurus, and Saturn in the late degrees of Pisces, approaching the sign of Aries, are the specifics. We also have Chiron, which has been in Aries for quite a long time, approaching the Taurus cusp. What does all of this mean? It is innovative, unexpected, and pioneer-like. These might be some really good descriptive adjectives to apply. The month of 2025 promises much excitement because it combines all of these cosmic transits with two eclipses and an eclipse season with the changeable transits. An eclipse season is the 2-week period between two eclipses. Eclipses always occur at either a new or a full moon, and they are usually in pairs. There are close alignments of planet Earth with the luminaries being the heavenly lights, our sun and our moon. The North Node eclipses are thought to be more favorable than the South Node eclipses. Regardless, though, expect the unexpected. An eclipse season brings what we might least guess at. It's very hard to predict the specifics, but we can say nothing will be the same. For thousands of years, eclipses have been linked to significant events that alter destiny. They usually occur, again, as I said, in groups of two at either a full moon, that's a lunar eclipse, when the light of the moon is obscured, or a solar eclipse when the light of the sun is obscured by the alignment of sun, moon, and earth. A total eclipse is more influential than a partial eclipse. Of the eclipses in this year of 2025, the one coming up on March 14th is the only total eclipse. The one on March 29th, 2 weeks later, brings a partial solar eclipse of a new moon in Aries. The March 14th eclipse, looking at the horoscope of it, is predicted to be a blood moon or a red eclipse, and the ancient astrologers said that blood could be shed during that time period. This eclipse will be visible across North America. In the Orlando area where I live, we'll see the totality at 2:55 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The whole process, though, will be in 5 stages, starting just before midnight to about 6 a.m., and will span several time zones going across the United States. Looking at the eclipse pattern, we can see that the horoscope forms what's called a bucket pattern. The moon is at 23 degrees Aries, 56 minutes. This is in the Mercury-Venus decadent of Aries, and the moon forms what's called the handle of the bucket, across from the grouping of placements in Pisces. This grouping includes Saturn, the Sun, and the North Moon node, and also Neptune, the planet of mysticism and spirituality, which is in Pisces. The North Moon node across from the bucket handle shows that this is actually a South node eclipse. The mood will be one of serious thinking and confusion, water, chemicals, truth versus distorted information, and the right use of time and resources can all be in the mix. If you look at the chart, you'll see that Venus is retrograde. Venus impacts both love and money, and it doesn't get the famous press that retrograde Mercury always does, but it's actually more influential. The Virgo moon, which is eclipsed at the south node, has the Sabian symbol of a nursery rhyme figure, Mary and her little white lamb. This suggests idealism and naivety, the inner child in all of us, and children in general can be very vulnerable. Health factors, including the purity of foods and medicines, and the environment can be of concern. So can any projects involving scholarship and daily work schedules. Very powerful. All of that will be unfolding during the 2-week period following March 14th until we arrive at the solar eclipse on March 29th of 2025. The planets here, if we look at the March 29th chart, form a bowl pattern with all of the placements within 180 degrees of the 360 degrees zodiacal circle. This is a North Node eclipse. It does involve retrograde Mercury, which will turn retrograde during the eclipse pattern, the Sun, Moon, and Chiron, all in Aries. Patience will be in a short supply, and there can be some anger issues surfacing. An urge to invent and experiment sets the pace. The Sabian symbol for this degree of the zodiac reads, a man on horseback standing alone in a battlefield over his fallen adversaries. This represents a major turning point in various battles, whether they're personal or battles taking place around the world. This eclipse is in the double Mars decadent of Aries. And during an eclipse season, if in doubt, do nothing. Let the universe make the first move. Be receptive to change and make adjustments. I am very concerned about world peace following the double Mars eclipse, even though it's a partial eclipse. That eclipse will be visible across parts of Europe, extreme northeast in the United States, northern Maine, and then also Nova Scotia, along the Canadian Maritime provinces. And that will be visible after sunrise because the sun will be obscuring, the shadow of the earth will obscure the sun as the moon passes within the alignment. And that's one you have to wear glasses for. If you're in an area where that eclipse is visible, eclipse glasses, very dark sunglasses, just a glimpse at that. And you can see a partial covering of the solar disk. But we will be also feeling the eclipse for about a year afterward. There's an aftershock effect. after celestial events of this time. For anyone who has a birthday during this time in March, you can have a really significant year. Try not to think of it as bad, but it's change. The worst thing to do is to hold on to something that's invalid. Be receptive to change, make adjustments. I like to compare it to what the lifeguards tell people when you're caught in a rip current. If you're swimming in the ocean, just float along, go with the flow, and with any luck, you'll end up back on the beach, but maybe in a completely different place from where you started. That analogy is a really good one if you should happen to have a birthday in the time period close to the eclipse season, which again spans March 14th through the 29th. Your birthday at that time could show a residential move or maybe a new job. I have prepared a sun sign reading for the 12 signs of the zodiac and what each of us might expect during the eclipse pattern. Of course, birth signs, sun sign degrees are just the tip of the iceberg. The various predictions that you might read about in newspaper columns use just a fragment of the birth chart, but it's a way to get started. And I thought it might be interesting to go through the 12 signs of the zodiac and what you can expect. So if you are an Aries birth sign, that's the familiar birth sign everybody knows. It's called the sun sign. It's actually the Earth's path around the sun. If you're an Aries, you might change your appearance and develop a whole new way of expressing yourself and presenting yourself to others. If you're usually an extrovert, you could become an introvert and vice versa. If you usually prefer casual clothes, you might go with more conservative or business-like dress as the year moves along. If you're a Taurus, you will seek greater peace and privacy. A charity project might interest you. You might rescue a homeless pet or reach out to a person in need. If your birth sign is Gemini, it's going to be all about money for you. A new source of income or an investment might intrigue you. Cancer, you're fed up with the status quo, the same old, and you might make some really eccentric choices. You'll be honoring the original side of you. Also, this might involve closest long-term ties. You might end some relationships and begin some new ones. Leo, faraway places beckon to you. You might decide to travel. If not, imported foods and other purchases that are imported can tempt you. You'll like whatever is exotic, and you might learn some phrases in a new language this year. Virgo, completely new values and priorities will replace the tried and true. Your emotions and heart rule the head. Your sensitivity will become more and more evident, and the inner romantic, which Virgo usually denies, can surface. Libra, expect new group affiliations. A new long-term goal can emerge. You might begin a new business or personal partnership, and you will definitely seek equality and justice in a new way. Usually, Libra has trouble making decisions. You generally will vacillate until it's decision by indecision. This year, you might become more decisive following the eclipse season. Scorpio, finances are your focus. You might revamp your budget. A spirit guide or angelic entity can visit too, and you might be drawn to communicate with the afterlife or try a past life regression. Sagittarius, health and fitness are going to be your topics. You might be drawn to alternative or natural medicines and find them helpful. You'll also be inclined to offer advice to help others, especially regarding their health and fitness. Capricorns, others include you in their plans, offer suggestions and ideas for you. Be receptive to these. Helpful advice can come your way from an unexpected source. So, of course, You always want to make your own personal decisions, go with your heart, but don't tune out advice. If you're a Capricorn, it could give you a good perspective. Aquarians, you are going to be very tired of frivolity. You'll become more serious. Your concerns are going to become more conservative, which is really different for you Aquarians. You're going to be especially responsible, and you will appreciate people who are sincere, reliable, and who pull their own weight. Pisceans, finally, we're through the zodiac. There's much that you can sense and feel but you might be reluctant to express. You're going to be more reserved and more quiet than usual, preferring to wait and watch. That will kind of be your keynote following the eclipse pattern. I'm Dickie Joe in Orlando, Florida, and reminding you this is a time of great personal and planetary change. Be very alert, very aware of what's going on to bring out the brightest and the best of what is, in many ways, going to be a new and different world emerging. And all the omens and signs should be occurring during this month of destiny coming up, March of 2025.
Thank you for watching the video. Reverend Dr. Dickie Jo Mullen has been gifted with several psychic learning styles that she has developed over her lifetime. Each of us has been gifted with innate psychic learning styles as well that we may choose to develop. Reverend Dr. Dickie Jo Mullen is an astrologer, psychic, and parapsychologist. She provides astrology, psychic, rune, and tarot card readings. She provides face-to-face and Zoom readings and seances. She offers webinars, face-to-face individual and group sessions as well. Here are Dr. Mullen's social media sites. Her email recently changed. She offers inspirational insights on her WordPress site. She has more than 200 related videos on her YouTube channel and also maintains a Facebook page. Reverend Dr. Dickie Jo notes that use of the internet enhances the psychic energy of her work. She observes that this is a result of the fusion of her earthbound energy, her psychic energy, and internet energy working together. She encourages you to explore and develop your innate psychic learning styles.